Hello everyone. Today I'm going to teach you inversion, one of the classiest and most formal structures in English. Today, this structure is mainly used in sentences with a negative element, a negative adverb. Let's take a quick look at a brief description of what inversion is and how it is formed. What is it used for? To emphasize the negative element in the sentence. Let's take this very simple sentence as our first example. I never smoke. If you want to emphasize the word never in this sentence, there are two ways. One of them is to raise your voice on the word never. I never smoke. But this technique cannot help us in writing. You cannot raise your voice in writing. The second way, however, helps us to do the same thing in writing and in speech to emphasize that negative word. It's inversion. The second question, how is it formed? With the negative element at the beginning of the sentence, the word order changes in a way that the sentence looks like a question without becoming one. What does that mean? After a few minutes, I'm going to give you some examples to perfectly show you how this works and how you can make it. But what this description, what this short explanation means is that the first thing you need to remember is that you have to remove your negative adverb from the middle of the sentence and take it to the beginning of the sentence before your subject. After doing that, you've got a negative adverb at the beginning and a sentence after that. This sentence should change to look like a question. It doesn't become a question really, but it looks like a question. Let's take a look at some examples and see how this works. Okay, here are a couple of examples, but before we take a look at them, here's a short list of the most common adverbs, negative adverbs, that we can use in our sentences. Never, 0% of the time. Rarely, seldom, hardly, ever. These three adverbs are very similar to never, so you can somehow consider all four of them somehow meaning the same. They're not exactly the same. Never is stronger than the other three, but still the other three are very close to never. Hardly, which is different from hardly ever. Hardly is like not. Hardly, when you say, I can hardly speak Russian, it means I cannot speak Russian, but hardly ever is an adverb of frequency. So hardly ever is close to never, but hardly is close to not, not. And finally, not only. And remember, when you have the phrase not only at the beginning of your sentence, you need to use but also in the middle. But inversion is used only to change the sentence that includes not only, not the other one. Now, let's take a look at our examples. Okay, here's our first example. I never smoke, with the negative word in red. To change it to a question, imagine the sentence without the negative element. Imagine the sentence where I smoke. And now, to change I smoke to a question, you say, do I smoke? I drive. Do I drive? Yes. I swim. Do I swim? Yes. So this is the question. Now you take the question here, put never at the beginning, and now never do I smoke. This is your sentence. It looks like a question, but as you can see, at the end of the sentence, we have a period or a full stop, not a question mark. Now, when you read the sentence, make sure you put a little stress on the word never, on the negative word. Never do I smoke. Never do I smoke. You see, it doesn't sound like a question. The second one, she rarely, like never, she rarely stays home on weekends. To change it to a question, imagine we have removed rarely from the sentence. Does she stay home on weekends? She stays home on weekends. Does she stay home on weekends? And then you take rarely to the beginning of the sentence. Rarely does she stay home on weekends. Let's take a look at some more examples. Okay, here is our next example. James has not only recovered, but also he's feeling better than ever. As you can see, not only one of our negative elements is used in this sentence. So I remove it from the sentence, then I have James has recovered. To change James has recovered into a question, I just need to change the positions of James and has. Has James recovered? Has James recovered? And now I take not only to the beginning of this question and I remove the question mark because it's not going to be a question. Not only has James recovered, but also he's feeling better than ever. Okay, you see, it's not really difficult and you can use it very easily in your own sentences. However, remember that this structure is mainly used in writing in very formal contexts, but sometimes it can be used in conversation too. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this lesson and learned it very well. Make sure you make your own sentences using this structure. You have to repeat it so many times that you master it. Make sure you follow my next videos. There are going to be lots of interesting videos, a variety of them regarding IELTS. I'm going to teach you a lot of useful points regarding IELTS, TOEFL, GRE, GMAT, General English, how to improve your speaking skills, and everything you need to know in order to become very, very, very good at English. Thank you very much, everybody. I'll be seeing you soon.